All right. On here, let's look at example 2. We are doing our last exponent property, as I said, and let's just jump right into the example. Okay. We're going to use your calculators in just a quick minute. On that first one, what do we have? 3 to the 6, and then what are we doing after that 3 to the 6? We are dividing it, right? Dividing it by 3 squared. So as we keep doing over the last few days, let's expand out 3 to the 6 and 3 to the second, and then let's do some division with that. And let's create a rule like we've been doing the last few days. 3 to the 6 means, one more time, what does 3 to the 6 mean?
Six threes.
Yeah, lots of threes, right? And then 3 to the second means what? Two threes. Now we're doing division. Let's go back to about 4th or 5th grade here where you started reducing, dividing with fractions. You're reducing fractions, I should say. How many threes at most? How many pairs of threes could we cancel? How many pairs of threes can I cancel up there?
How many pairs of threes?
2, right? I can cancel out a pair of threes. That first pair of threes, 3 divided by 3, gone. 3 divided by 3 is gone, right? Can I cancel out any more threes? No. How many threes do I have left over?
4.
So I rewrite that in exponential form. And what do I have? 3 to the 4th. Okay? So that's annoying. I don't want to keep expanding this out. What's my shortcut here? What was my shortcut off of this then? It's my shortcut here, looking at my exponents to get 3 to the 4th power.
Minus.
Thank you, Brady. My shortcut is keeping that base as 3 and taking those exponents, taking those powers and subtracting the top exponent minus the bottom one. 6 minus 2, which gives me 3 to the 4th. I don't care if those bases are numbers or if those bases are variables. Same thing's happening. We could write out 7x's divided by x to the, I don't see a power there. I don't see an exponent there. X to the first. So we know there's a 1 there, but then we're going to cancel as many as we can. So I don't see an exponent there, so that is a 1. Top exponent minus the bottom exponent, so 7 minus 1 is x to the 6, right? That's it. All right, we are using our new rule today. Next one, top exponent minus the bottom exponent. We got the same bases of -4. Keep the base, top minus the bottom. Here's where we get in trouble. Top minus the bottom is 4 minus 5. Okay, this is where your calculators come into play. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but we know our arithmetic is not always stellar. So what is 4 minus 5? -1. Now, if you give me this as the answer, -4 parentheses to the -1, I'm not giving you full credit off that. We talked about the other day, we have a negative power. We don't like that. How do we rewrite that -1 to become a +1? We rewrite that as a, I think you said fraction, right? So let's rewrite that as a fraction. What we want as the final answer is 1 over, cross the line, change the powers sign. Okay? We don't change the sign of the base. We never touch that. Okay? We change the sign of the power, the exponent. It becomes a +1. And now we're cool. That's our correct final answer there. Okay? How about the next one there? We have bases of x's, right? Keep it in your head. Top exponent minus the bottom exponent. 5 minus 5 is?
0.
That answer is great, but it could be better. I'm not going to give you full credit. Just one more time, guys. What do we say? Anything to 0 power is? No. All right, yeah. That's what, again, people want to say. It's 0, but as you correctly said, it is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Now let's go back to your calculators. Let's go back up to letter A. I know it sounds simple, but go type in your calculator. 3 to the 6th divided by 3 to the 2nd, and get me that 3 to the 4th power, please. everybody in your calculators, I don't care if it's a graphing calculator or if it's Desmos. Type that in right now. Not your phone though. I don't think your text messages can do exponential powers there, Jeremiah. Nope, it can't. I know it doesn't. All right. I know. I already know it doesn't. Okay, so let's type it in. 3 to the 6th divided by 3 to the 2nd. For Desmos, I'm going to start right there. Every time I'm doing division here with a fraction, I always like to hit the division key first to create that fraction bar. Just for Desmos people right there. I'll get my graphing calculator people next. Okay, so now numerator, 3, AB button to get that power like we've been doing. 3 to the 6th. Go to the denominator, 3, AB button, 3 to the 2nd. Now, my graphing calculator people, if you've already got your answer there too, cool. I'll come back to you in a second. But right there, remember, we said our calculators cannot give you exponential form. It will give you not 3 to the 4th, but you should be all getting 81. That answer is fine. I will take that answer. It'll be just fine. SAT will not. SAT will not usually give you 81. They will usually give you 3 to the 4th. That's cool. You should be able to go back and forth on that because we're going to use those same rules when the base is a variable. Okay, so you guys still be able to do that by hand. My graphing calculator people. All right, get ready to go with me on that. 3 to the 6th, but here's where you got to make sure you don't make the mistake. You got to use your right arrow to get that cursor down back to its original place, divided by, and then 3 to the 2nd. It's no big deal. And then there's my 81. It's the same deal. All right, you just got to watch that same thing about bringing it back down to its original location. All right, now go to the letter C. On this letter C, the one that I want you to focus on is using those parentheses. So, parentheses. Got to click my division button first. Parentheses first, whatever's on your paper better absolutely be what is on your screen. So if I've got parentheses, you better have parentheses. Okay, and then the denominator, -4, AB button to the what power? 5th power. Now everybody's screen, if you typed it in correctly, should be giving me not a text message or anything, but should be giving me a decimal. If you are getting that decimal, change it over to a fraction. And we've done this before. How do you change a decimal to a fraction? Decimals people, right here, click the, well, yeah, it looks like a fraction. -1/4. Now my graphing calculator people, we're doing the exact same thing. I'm gonna go my graphing calculator people. Parentheses, -4, boom, to the 4th power. We type it in exactly like we did on the last one. All right, and then to get your guys's, again, decimal to a fraction, we've been hitting that button right here where it says math, option number 1, change it to a fraction. So get great at your calculators. These calculators will never leave you. When do they leave you? Once you leave high school, they will leave you. Okay, we're not there yet. You're not seniors yet. Okay, so what we've just done here is today we started talking about our quotient rule. That's where our 5th property today is, our quotient rule. So let's wrap this up then with our quotient rule. The quotient rule says, hey, if we get the same base of 2, top exponent minus the bottom exponent. 6 minus 2 gives me 2 to the 4th. That's our quick version. Bases are the same. Top exponent minus the bottom exponent. Here's where the mistakes happen. 4 minus 7. 4 minus 7 is correct. -3. Don't give me that as the final answer though. -3 becomes a positive exponent by rewriting it as, yep, x to the 3rd. Cross the line, change the powers sign. Put the phones away. Put it away, Gavin, put it away. Put it away, put it away, put it away, put it away now. Okay, on the next one. Who cares if it's a fraction? Is the power. Still doing the same thing. Top exponent minus the bottom exponent. Okay? 5 minus 5, 10 minus 10, a half minus a half. Something minus itself always gives you what? Nope. Gives me 0. Now, that answer's good, but I don't want that as a final answer because one more time, anything to the 0 power is 1. And then lastly, if my base is a negative, that's fine. Okay, keep the base, top minus the bottom. 10 minus 7 is, keep those parentheses going. Don't drop them, don't get lazy. We've talked about that before, that if you lose those parentheses, it's going to be a bad day for you. Okay? Now, let's use that in some more examples here today, right below that. Now, as we look at number 3 down below, I see multiple bases happening. I see some K's and J's in the same problem, A's and B's in the same problem, whatever. Let's do this. Number 3, letter A. On those K's, all right? On those K's and then the J's, just walk it from left to right. As I walk it from left to right, focus on those first K's, and then we'll focus on the J's. So on those K's, from left to right, top exponent minus the bottom exponent. And then we'll do the J's. Treat them in your head as one problem at a time. On the K's, what do we got? Top minus the bottom. 6 minus what?
1.
I don't see a number, so I put a 1 there. So everybody, 6 minus 1, K to the 6 minus 1, K to the 5th. J's, 2 minus 2, J to the 0. That's a great start, but let's finish it. What am I going to clean up? The K or the J?
JJ.
Because J has a 0. Anything to the 0 power becomes
1.
So the J is about to change. Just basically drop it, right? The final answer is K to the 5th. We said one more time, anything to 0 power becomes 1. It just basically drops out. Okay? You good, Moschino? All right. Letter B. I see A's and B's up there. Who cares? One at a time, guys. On the A's, top minus the bottom. This is the tricky one. Why is the A's the tricky one? Where do you think the mistakes are going to happen? Because A's have powers that are top minus the bottom. Let's write it. -3 minus a -5. Here's the stupid mistakes that happen. Okay, let's go to our calculator. Type it in. -3 minus a -5. Thank you. -3 minus a -5. Lily, say it out loud. Write it out. -3 minus a -5. Top minus the bottom.
I messed up because I put,
Only one negative.
yeah.
That's the mistake. I know what I'm doing there, Sadie. So top minus the bottom. When you see that top minus the bottom, you catch usually that 2 negatives there. Okay. So as you then said, you caught it. You got a 2 there, right, Sadie? So we're going to say A to the 2nd, and then B, top minus the bottom, right? And I heard B to the 5th. Okay. Do I need to clean up anything, or is A okay, or is B okay? It's okay. The positive exponents, we like positive exponents. A is okay, B is okay. All right. Down below, letter C, I got some 2's, I got some X's. Let's go with the 2's. They're like bases. Top minus the bottom. 3 minus 6. -3, right. Use that calculator. Okay, 3 minus 6, -3. X's, this is where the tricky part comes in. Top minus the bottom. Top minus the bottom. Jot it down. Go to your calculator. -4 minus a -4. Lyrics up here saying I get an X to the 0, which is totally correct. Now, don't give me that as the final answer because that's a hot mess still. Which is the hot mess, the 2 or the X? X for sure. Anything to the 0 power becomes,
1.
it's going to drop out. But also the 2 is the hot mess as well. Why is 2 a mess? Negative 3, negative exponent. Fix it. Make it a fraction. We rewrite that as 1 over, correct. 2 to the 3rd. Cross the line, change the powers sign. Right, Jeremiah? I know there's something that exciting on Desmos. Let's do a couple more here. Okay, now, on the next one there, next thing I noticed on the next one, letter D, 6 and 3 are not like bases. So 6 and 3 are not like bases. All right. So what's 6 divided by 3? Just because they're not like bases, all right, we still can actually divide them just nicely. Okay. So 6 divided by 3 gives me a 2. Okay. That's where students kind of have a brain fart there. Just don't forget that, like, just division of your whole numbers from years and years and years and years. So we get a 2. And then for the bases of x, top minus the bottom. I don't see an x to the first, so I put a 1 there. And 5 minus 1 is 4. Before I move on, 2x to the 4th. Is that okay, or does it need to be fixed? 2x to the 4th, okay, or fix it? It's okay, right? X to the 4th is fine, and there's no zeros. Let's flip it. Let's look at the next page. On the next page, at the tippy top, we've got parentheses now. Parentheses brings us back into what we talked about a couple days ago. We've done 3 operations now. We subtracted exponents, we added exponents, and we multiplied exponents. So, parentheses is when we multiplied exponents. All right, let's do that now. On the number A with the exponents there, we're going to multiply them. So it just so happens because we have a numerator and denominator this time, we got to multiply in both parts. So what do I mean again by that? X times, or is going to be 3 times 2. And y is going to be 4 times 2 right there. Okay? So both the numerator and denominator, you got to make sure you multiply those powers by 2. Okay? What's 3 times 2? 6, and what's 4 times 2?
8.
Are those like bases? X and y, are those like bases?
Yes.
X and y are 2 totally different bases, right? So can we do anything with 6 and 8? Are those positive powers or negative powers? They're good to go then, aren't they? That is my final answer. I'm good to go. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. Letter B. That 2, I don't see a power, so I put that 1 there. 1 times 3. And on the bottom, the denominator, I keep multiplying powers together. Because those parentheses, like the distributive property, I multiply those powers together. So 2 times 3. Okay? All right. Now, multiply those powers. 1 times 3. 2 times 3. And then lastly, that's it. Those bases are good to go. They're not the same, so I don't need to do anything more. And then exponents are positive. There's nothing more you can do from that. All right, last thing here today kind of wraps up everything we've talked about the last few days. Let's do this on letter A. Number 5, letter A. One of the things that you're going to see then the last on our quizzes and tests coming up is fill in the missing blank. What does that missing number have to be there in the exponent to complete this equation here? So you got to know which rule to use when. If I see division, or if I see multiplication, or I see parentheses, you need to know, hey, am I adding, multiplying, or subtracting right there? So today, the first one, I see division. And when I see division, this is what we call our quotient rule. And that is where we are subtracting exponents. So how do I get, or what does that blank have to be in order to get that blank there. So we start off with the 10, we divide by 2 to the second. So what is 10 minus 2 to give you that? Correct. Lyric said, hey, 10 minus 2 is going to give me 2 to the 8th right there. That's it. That's literally it. Now, letter B is a little bit differently. Letter B is in the same idea, but the difference is the question mark is down there. So 10 minus what is giving you 4? Think about it in your head. What 10 minus what gives you 4? There you go. 6 does. And what we're doing then is you're using your equation skills from the last semester, from 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Okay? And then on letter C, what minus 8 is giving you 3? What minus 8 gives you 3?
5.
And that's where I got tricky on that one. So I heard it's 5, and I'm going to use that 5. So 5 minus 8, does that give you 3?
Oh. No.
No. So what minus 8 gives you 3? So let's think about our equation skills there, Sadie. There's my variable question mark. Got to add 8 to both sides. 3 plus 8 is?
Negative.
3 plus 8 is? It's 11. Okay? So 11 minus 8 is giving me that 3. All right? That's the tricky one right there. Every time I can catch a few people on that one. Now, this is going to be multiple choice in all my quizzes. And I guarantee I'm going to put a 5 on there as one of the multiple choice answers. Don't answer that. Okay? Think about it. What minus 8? And check your work. 5 minus 8, does that give you 3? No, it did not. Okay. Letter D. Now what we're doing is multiplying the bases together. And we call that the product rule. And this is where we add exponents. So we're going to add the exponents together. So to add these exponents together, 3 plus what gives you 7? 3 plus what gives you 7? Yep, 4 does. Yep. Subtract 3. 3 plus what gives you 7? 4 does. Down there on the bottom, letter E. 5 plus 4 gives you what? Yep, that's it. Just use your equation skills, people. 5 plus 4 gives you what? And then lastly, letter F, I got parentheses. Parentheses means we're using what we say is our power rule. And on our power rule, this is where we multiply. Thank you. So we're trying to multiply here. 3 times 2 to give us something. As Bree just said up here, that gives us a 6. Okay. Now we got the something, we got the 12, but 3 times what gives me a 12? 3 times what gives us 12? Divide, right? Divide. 12 divided by 3, that had to be 4. And then who cares what the location is, where that variable is at? Question mark times 4. What times 4 has to give you 12? 3 does, correct. All we are asking ourselves is what times together with that 4 gives you 12? 3 did this time. So these questions right back here, I'm going to ask you a lot now. And as I ask these out, you're going to see these questions happen on your quizzes, the last couple ones coming down the road. Okay. Now, let's do a little bit more here with that. Let me get the assignment here. As you can see, it's just a quick review of the rules with you. Okay. In case you're stuck, just a quick kind of glance at the rules we've been going over. Okay. So on that front side, on those few examples down there at the bottom, this is very similar to what we've been already kind of walking through on. let's do letter B together real quick. On number 1B. Okay, on 1B, I get A's and B's. Let's go with those A's first. Top minus the bottom. 3 minus 5. This is where your calculators are buddy. 3 minus 5 we know is a 2, but the question is, thank you, it is a negative 2. That's where those mistakes keep happening. Let's make sure they don't. For the B's, top minus the bottom. 6 minus 3. Again, that answer is good, but that's not what you're going to see. This is multiple choice, then you're going to keep going. And which one do we have to move, the A or the B? A, correct. B is cool. Don't touch the B. B to the third stays put. It's the A that's coming to the denominator. Cross the line, change the powers sign. That's our final answer that we want from you. Okay? Let's do one more here. Let's do letter C. Letter C, I see bases of 2. Now on that top one, I don't see a number for the power, so I put a 1 there. Again, top minus the bottom. What's 1 minus 6? Negative 5. Use that calculator for yourself. 1 minus 6 gives me a negative 5. For the x's, this is my other big mistake. Top minus the bottom. Run it through your head. Write it down. Top minus the bottom. Now I heard somebody think just say 0, but subtract negative 5 minus negative 5. That's where I get that 0 from. Again, as I look at that problem, we're on the right track, but it's not cleaned up yet. What's, again, screwing it up? The 2 or the x? The 2 does. It's a negative power. How do I write a negative power to become positive? Well, I rewrite it as a fraction. Cross the line, change the power sign. And is the x screwing it up? Yep, sure is. X to the 0 becomes a 1. And that's it. So basically drops out. And 1 over 2 to the 5th. That's our new stuff for today. Cross the line, change the power sign. It became 1 over 2 to the 5th. X to the 0 dropped out. Okay. Down there at the bottom, let's do letter B, and then we'll flip it to the other side. On letter B, I don't see a power on the 4, so I'm going to say, hey, 1 times 3 over 4 times 3. Okay? 1 times 3, 1 times 3, 1 times 3 is 4 to the 3rd over, and then x to the 12th. Boom, call it a day. All right, flip it. Let's do a couple more in the back there. We got plenty of time. That's what we focus on today. That's the new stuff. On the back side, that's our old stuff. So let's look at the old stuff. Now on the back side, number 3 is what we just talked about. I'm not gonna do all those there, but let's take a look at here. Let's take a look at letter C. Okay, let's look at letter C. On letter C, all right, we're subtracting these exponents. So we are saying the top minus the bottom gives me 3. So again, the question is, what minus 4 gives me 3? What minus 4 gives me 3? What did you say? Or somebody say it. 7 does. 7 does. So the question mark has to be 7. And if you're not 100% sure it's 7, what can you do? Check it. If you said the answer is 7, hey, does 7 minus 4 give you 3? Yeah, 7 minus 4 does give you 3. If you thought the answer was something else, I'm going to give you multiple choice answers with this. Take the other multiple choice answer. I guarantee I'm going to give you another answer to multiple choice. One of my answers is going to be 12. Does 12 minus 4 give you 3? No, it does not. That doesn't make sense. So it's going to be multiple choice. Look at your multiple choice answers and do what we say is that brute force. Plug it in. Does it make sense or not? Plug it in. Does it make sense or not? Find the one that makes sense. That's that brute force strategy that we talked about over the last second semester here. Okay. All right. Let's take a look on that last one there, letter E. Parentheses. I see parentheses. That means we're multiplying. 3 times what is giving you 18?
6.
Yep. I can't make any quicker than that. You got to know what property to use when. Is it multiplication, addition, or subtraction? And that's what tomorrow's going to help you out with some of the math. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's look down below number 4. On number 4, 5 to the 0. Anything to the 0 power becomes 1. And then I got a negative exponent. That becomes 1 over 5. Now with that one's just going to go away. We know that. The 1's just going to go away. But this is where we bring in our skills of PSAT. That's our fraction bar, 1 fraction bar 5. Okay? 1 fraction bar 5. All right? Just fine bubbling that in. 1/5. All right? Okay, let's talk about the next one. Number 5. On number 5, we got ourselves not a rectangle this time. What do we have? We have ourselves a square. What's the one thing you guys know about a square? What's the thing you guys know about a square? 4 sides. That's absolutely correct. What about those 4 sides do we know?
They're all the same.
You say you're about to say, Bree. All sides are the same. I got to know that. So we're going to walk it around and say, hey, all sides are 2x. Now it's just like the rectangle we did. The rectangle, the square, if we were doing a triangle, all sides, add them up. For the perimeter, it's the sum. Sum is addition. We have 4 sides that are 2x. What is 2x plus 2 plus 2? What's 4 of those together? 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8x. That is correct. That's it. Now area. I get a different formula for area of a square than a rectangle. Rectangle, we said yesterday or the other day, was base times height. Square is not. Square is side squared. But we just did that the other day. So we're going to take the side, which is 2x, and we're going to say, hey, parentheses. You better use those parentheses, people. If you don't, you're going to have a bad day. Whatever the 2x is, square it. This is what we've just been doing here for the last couple days. You're going to use your power rule.
400.
Oh, not 400. 2 squared, x squared. So we're going to use our power rule. There's a 1 here, and there's a 1 there. Okay? So we're going to multiply those exponents. 1 times 2, 1 times 2. So what's 1 times 2?
2.
And what's 1 times 2 again? So it's 2 squared, x squared. 2 squared and x squared. All right? We're using our power rule to help us out there. 2 squared x squared, 2 squared x squared, 2 squared x squared, 2 squared x squared. That's all. Okay? We're using our power rule on that one. All right? We're going to keep seeing that square appear next year in geometry. That's your area for square. Get to know it because, boy, you're going to use it a lot next year. Okay, last one I want us to do is number 6. Go right to your calculator. Here's our easy one, but you better make sure, just like we did the area one right there, you better make sure you type this in correctly with your calculator. Some of you did not do this the other day. So when I wrote this out, I put parentheses around that -5. There's already a negative in front. So when we did the substitution property way back when, this is what I'm typing into my calculator. Negative parentheses, -5 squared. So negative out front, parentheses, whoops, try this again. Negative out front, parentheses, -5, and then squared. If you don't have what's on your paper correctly, then you're screwed on the calculator. And what answer choice am I choosing? Correct, letter A. Nobody should miss any of these. Those are my pure calculator ones. And then number 7, we've already done those the other day. Just reminding you, so you agree on. Reminding you about those, of how to type those into your calculator. Let's do letter B as a last reminder. Again, what's on your paper better be exactly what's on your calculator. -1/2 to the x. Okay? So I'm going to go right to my calculator. I see, hey, it says f of x. So I'm going to go f of x equals, we've seen that lately, negative fraction 1/2. And it says to the x power. And we know to the x power better be my exponential curve. So I see that exponential curve, and I'm going to trace it on there. It doesn't need to be a crazy trace, it doesn't need to be super fancy. Okay, it's not a great one, but that curve is what we're going to be seeing here over the next few days. Okay, and what are your eyes doing with this curve? Are your eyes going up or down? Left to right, your eyes are going what? Increasing. That is correct. Your eyes are increasing on this one. And this is again part of what we say is our exponential family, because it is get to the x power. Okay. All right, finish it off. All right, finish it off for us. And then tomorrow, have your Chromebooks. We're going to use our last unit of Mathia. And then Monday, we'll continue on with things. Okay?